to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me while holding the door open from an uncomfortably long distance, it's your co-host, Nick Richardson.
You better fucking run. Run to me. Run to the door.
I'm just like, I'm like 10 feet away, man. You don't have to hold the door. Like, just let it. I'll get it. It's fine. It's really a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, I'll hold it open until like the last second, and then I'll finally go ahead and close it.
Yeah, then you let it go like right as they're getting there, and then they have to reach for it anyways.
Exactly.
That's
a
complete
trip on themselves.
We're not talking about dick moves. We're here to talk about acts of kindness. Nick is holding the door because he is a nice person. So we're going to talk about what kindness is, and are we kind as people, and just talk about some great things that people have done out of the kindness of their hearts throughout the years.
Oh yeah, dude. I think this is obviously a super dope thing to talk about now more than ever.
Yes.
As it
Be
becomes
nice to each
more
other,
dire.
people.
Yeah. So I mean, let's remember the kindness in our hearts, folks. No, I don't really. I'm pessimistic a lot of the time, but I definitely think extraordinary acts of kindness, which is kind of what we're reaching for, is something to be recognized for sure.
Yes, it is, and that's. We're going to mainly focus on the above and beyond, but we'll talk some small stuff too. But Nick, first let's start off with what is kindness. Let's get a definition out there.
So I looked up the definition, and I was ready to read a paragraph, and then it was like 3 words. I was sorely disappointed. So it's the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate.
Oh, you got a better definition than I did. Mine was a kind act. So they used the word in the definition. So then I had to define kind as well, which is of a good or benevolent nature or disposition.
Being good.
Yeah.
That expands more on kindness.
Just be fucking nice to each other, okay?
Yeah. In the podcast. Boom.
Yeah. To me, kindness is more altruistic. Like, you're not doing it, like, it's easy to be nice to somebody if you benefit from it in some way. But being a genuinely kind person is more like, I'm just going to do it because that person needs help.
Well, I think that kind of ties into like empathy and stuff like that, which I think empathy is, part of kindness in a big way. It's just not those 3 things. You know what I mean? That's really kind of pigeonholing it, but I think kindness is a lot bigger than that, which makes it sound like it's really complicated, but when you boil it down, it's really not.
No, not exceptionally, but at the same time it kind of is, because people, to me, are naturally a little bit selfish, and you want to be kind, but at the same time, if that kindness hurts you in some way, you're less likely to be kind.
Oh, I agree 100%. 100%, and that was kind of something I struggled with throughout when I'm, working on the outline for this, is just like, people really are inherently fucking selfish.
Yeah.
For the most part.
But at the same token, I think they want to be kind. People want to be nice and want to be helpful and, do what they can. It just doesn't necessarily mean that they are,
Yeah, until it costs them something, or, until
right.
It's so easy you can't avoid it a lot of times.
They may think they're being like, they may think, oh, I'm a kind person, I'm a nice person, but just because they think they are doesn't mean that they are.
Oh, definitely. I think
just because you give $1 to a homeless person, like, that's great. But if you turn around and then, I don't know, yell at your kids over dumb shit.
Yeah, whoop your kid's ass for no
I was trying not to go that far.
Well, I think that's very unkind, Calvin.
Yeah, it is definitely very unkind. But, like, yeah, there shouldn't be a balance to it, It shouldn't be like, well, I did this one nice thing, so now I can be an asshole to the next person.
Most fucking definitely, and it shouldn't just be something where it's what can I get out of this?
Right.
What benefit does it bring me? But I think that's almost like an unwritten currency in our culture. It's like, okay, what will I get out of this? Pretty much.
And it's easy to help people when it doesn't come at any personal expense, either monetarily or otherwise, time, effort, whatever you want, like just expending yourself in any way. But when it costs something, that's what really allows you to see who the truly kind people are. They kind of rise to the top when it's like, okay, I have to put in a lot of effort to help these people, but I'm going to do it because they need help more than I need whatever else I was saving that effort for, you know?
Yeah, it's a conscious decision for sure.
Right.
Um,
To a point, I think with some people, some of these people that we're going to talk about, it starts as a conscious effort and then it just becomes second nature to them because that's the way they live their lives. And I can say for a fact, like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm a nice person and I want to be helpful, but there's a threshold, obviously. It's always this cost benefit analysis in quick time in my head of like, yeah, I can help this person, but how's that going to affect me? And if the balance is there, then okay, fine, yeah, I'm going to help you. But I think truly kind people don't even weigh those options in their head. They're just like, yeah, sure, I'll help you.
Yeah, it sucks to say it sometimes. It sucks to say at this point in time, but yeah, I think I'm the same way.
I don't think
I
it
wouldn't
can
say
suck to say it though. Like, because you
just gotta be
have to help
factual.
yourself sometimes. Like, you have to help yourself. You have to take time for yourself. You have to help your family, and you have to we have families, so we have to take into consideration our actions, the effects on our family, as well as the effects on this person who you may or may not be helping. So it's not
Oh, I
just, well, I'm
100%
doing it
agree.
selfishly for myself. I'm doing it selfishly to do something to help my family.
Well, they come number one, and I don't know. I'm not driving around like looking at all the homeless people like you fucking bastards. You got yourself into this situation.
No,
But I'm certainly not giving a dollar to
I'm not
every
stopping
homeless
at
man.
everyone and giving them $1, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. If
Actually,
I'm,
I pretty much just never give money to people on the street.
I do not, I don't, I say no immediately every time because,
Well, I've got a story
man,
about that when we talk some of our personal experiences of just like being approached in parking lots. It's just a straight no on whatever the hell you're saying to me. I don't care.
yeah, and stay away about 3 foot at
Yeah.
least. If you get too close to me, I get defensive.
And that it's more of a safety thing than like I think you're trying to scam me or you're lying or whatever. Like, if these people, I see them at the gas station a lot. They just come up to you while you're at the gas. Oh, I need a couple bucks to fill my or to get to the next thing, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I could give you the $2. You're probably scamming me. It's not gonna hurt me to give you the $2. But it's just this blanket policy of like when people approach me, I'm just like, no, get the hell away.
Yeah, I got burned too many times.
Yeah,
I think that's the inherent unkindness in some people. Some
yeah.
people are just a lot of the population. I think is just fully willing to use and abuse any bit of kindness or compassion they get from other people, which is sad, but
Right.
it is what it is.
Well, that's the other side of kindness is sometimes when you're a kind person, people go out of their way to take advantage of it.
I think
People
most of the time.
see that you're willing to help at the drop of the hat and boom, they're on it. Let me have this, let me have this, let me have this. Instead of like being appreciative of the kindness, I mean, they're appreciative, but at the same time, then they want more and more and more, which
Yeah,
that makes being kind hard because like you want to help, but you also have to save something for yourself.
well, that transitions it from it being just kindness out of your own heart or whatever to being a chore. Then it's
Right.
like, oh, now you're really fucking carving something out of me instead of it being, something you may actively pursue, like, you may pursue helping someone, but when they take full advantage of it and just drag you over the coals, and it's like, oh, okay,
Well,
I've learned my
it's like
lesson.
the okay, your friend wants you to help him move, and you're like, okay, fine. That's not that big of a deal. Doesn't like it's not how I want to spend my Saturday, but I'll do it because I want to be nice. You go help, and then it's helping them move, and then you have to move their furniture all around their house when you get there, and then it's the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing on top, and then you're there the next week to help them buy a bunch of shit because now they lost like they need to fill their new house with shit. So you go help them buy stuff and move it into their house. Like they start to take advantage once you help that one time and say yes, and you're like, and then they almost don't let you say no after that because you helped them the last time, and well, what have you got better to do?
Exactly, especially if they didn't offer you anything the first time around, so then they'll start stepping up their game, like, hey, what about beer this time? And then after that, it's beer and pizza, and
Yeah,
then after that, it's whatever, I don't know, nice beer and pizza.
yeah.
And nice pizza. No Papa John's this time. We're going gourmet, son.
Wait, Papa John's isn't gourmet?
It is for me. It is for this family.
I know there's like things wrong with the dude Papa John's, but I kind of like their pizza. It's fine.
Our pizza's pretty fucking good.
Like, he's
I
a
like it.
douche, but it's easy to get. I can order it on an app. It's pretty quick.
They
Tastes
give you
good.
rewards. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Their
is not
rewards are
kind.
good. Yeah, their
He's a
rewards are real good.
douchebag.
I've gotten like 5 free pizzas from them.
Yeah, I've gotten
Easy.
more than that because I order a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of
probably got
pizza.
more than that because I've done a couple fancy football parties where I'm ordering 5 pizzas and then the next time it's like basically free for the next like 3 times.
Nice. Hopefully the people that joined you were kind and got you some pizzas another time. You know, we're nice
No,
and
like
kind.
I'm not a party goer.
That's
I'm,
fair.
I'm sure we've gotten each other back in other ways. Some people like try and throw me some money, things like that, like extra on top of the fancy football entry. It's whatever. If you want to be nice and help, sure, I'm going to accept it. But like I'm buying the pizza because I'm hosting the party. Like I don't ever expect anyone to give me extra money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you shit, buddy. I'm gonna come eat all your fucking pizza, drink too much beer, get really loud, and ruin it for everybody, and then hit you up next week to ask you to move, or hit you up next week to ask you to help me move. How
No,
about that?
not gonna do it.
Ah, but you helped me that last time, and I didn't even give you anything.
Now I got 1 beer and a slice of pizza.
Yeah, I've fucking been there, man. I remember I had a friend. Yeah, I had a friend that was like, hey, because I had a truck at the time. They're like, hey,
Yeah,
if you help me
can't
move, I'll
have a
buy you
truck.
beer and pizza. And sure enough, I helped him move, and then, oh, man, sorry, dude, I just must have lost my wallet. It's like, man, I can see it in your pants. Like, I can see it right there. You fucking liar. And, yeah, I got pissed and I stormed the fuck out of there because I mean, it was like 9.5 hours of moving, and I was
Oh,
starving. Ugh.
it's bad when it's your truck. So like you can't be the one that's like, oh shit, I got something else to do. I gotta go. I helped you for a couple hours. Now I'm out.
Yeah,
When you're the one with the truck, you gotta stay. So
yeah.
I've
I was
never driven a truck.
really tempted to just put the tailgate down and fucking gun it. Watch everything fall out of the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
But to kind of like get back on track a little bit, I feel like most people are decent and nice and don't go out of their way to like actively hurt others. It's just the second it costs them something, they realize it's not worth it to be nice anymore and move on. They're not an asshole,
Yeah,
but they're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
pretty much. It's just like, yeah, that's a no.
And is
That's a hard no from me.
being kind or kindness is kind of this more ingrained. It has something. It's just something you do because you know it will help someone, and you don't necessarily take your own self into consideration,
Yeah.
which sucks because
Yeah.
people need to take themselves into consideration.
Yeah, you got to be a little. I guess it sounds terrible.
It's okay
saying it
to be
this way,
selfish
but
sometimes.
exactly. There you go, Calvin. You took the words right.
Sorry, I should
No,
let you speak.
no,
That
it's
wasn't
good
kind of
because
me to cut you off.
you took the heat from me. Everybody's gonna be a dick to you now, and that was kind of you to take people's dickishness away from me.
I already think people are dicks, so it doesn't bother me.
Oh, dude, I fully think people are dicks. I just always have the urge to fucking argue with them. It's like, you know what? Fuck you.
So let's take that and go throughout history. We've got some examples of people who've made a difference with extraordinary acts of kindness, and what makes these instances so special. You want to go first, or you want me to?
I'll go first. And
You go first.
what I did, I got 3, and I divided them into like little weird subcategories. So
Ooh.
one is war, one is domestic, and one is cultural. So
I
war,
think I could probably fit mine all into those as well.
I bet you could. It took me a minute, but I kind of fell in with those. But
So let's
first one
do
is
that. We'll do war, domestic, cultural.
sounds good. So war, boom. The year is fucking 1914, yo. It's the Christmas truce between the French, British, and the Germans on the Western Front. So I spent a lot of time. I've listened to Dan Carlin's series a lot, and that shit is horrible. It was a bad time. I'm trying to enunciate on that, but it was a bad fucking time for everybody. It was one of the worst points in humanity's history, and these giant groups of men who have spent the past several weeks trying to kill each other in fucking holes. Everybody smells like shit. Everybody's starving. Start singing songs, and kind of all have this weird truce of just not shooting and killing each other, even though that's everyone's objective, and celebrating Christmas. I thought that was fucking dope. I thought that was a really kind thing to do to each other as a whole. And what makes it so kind, in my opinion, is just how far it spread. Like, all these men, it's all replicating this act of kindness of just joining in a bit of camaraderie and setting your shit aside. You can't talk to each other and, sharing your food, sharing your tobacco, sharing your, your liquor, and playing soccer or some shit. It was a, really dark time in humanity's history, and that, I think, a few people's kindness kind of snowballed it and made it, a point in history that you can look to.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. I saw that one while I was researching. I didn't go with it because it didn't hit home. But like it's a really great thing that despite all of the chaos surrounding them, these guys just stop and are like, look, let's just have some togetherness.
Yeah, it's fucking Christmas, yo. Let's just chill. And the way Dan Carlin, explains it, is really, really neat, because it's basically the British are sitting in their trenches freezing and are all like, yeah, it's fucking Christmas, woo, and then they start to hear singing from the German lines, and it slowly expanded. A few men started to cross no man's land, and then a few more, and it grew and grew and grew, and it was almost a contagious act of kindness among a few men, because that's a lot of I want to say trust, but I don't think there's really any trust in it whenever you're at that point, between the war and the death and shit like that. So it's, I don't know. I think it's kindness, in my opinion, that brought the first couple guys to actually make that leap and just be like, yeah, okay, I'll celebrate Christmas with this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Good choice. So mine falls under war in a little bit different setting, but it's still there. This was a time, I don't think I wrote down the year. I should have.
Oh my God.
But it was within the last decade. Texas A&M students blocked protesters from demonstrating at a soldier's funeral.
I saw that headline while I was looking through stuff.
So this was like a small but completely not insignificant act that these students took part in. Basically, the Westboro Baptist Church has a habit of protesting soldiers' funerals, believing that God punishes soldiers due to America's tolerance for homosexuality.
Yeah,
and that is a
guys.
Really weird thing to say and write out. I can't believe that I wrote it.
Yeah, oddly specific. They have, a weird...
And so, it's not even that they had something against that soldier. It's just all soldiers, if there's a funeral for one, they try and go protest because all the soldiers are fighting for America's tolerance of homosexuality. So, fuck the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah, you guys are dicks.
They are not kind people. They think they are. See, that's it right there. They think they're all doing the right thing and that they're very nice trying to shut down the homos, but really... They're not.
I don't mean to laugh like that, but when you say it like that, it just sounds so fucking absurd. We're gonna shut down the homos.
That's how these people think.
I fucking agree, man. They're horrible fucking people, but shit.
So these students, I didn't see how many students it was. It was like 20 to 50 students, most of whom did not know the deceased soldier, create a human wall around the funeral so that the Westboro Baptist Church couldn't get close enough to protest. And honestly, the biggest thing that these kids missed out on was maybe a couple of them missed a class, but the benefit for this grieving family, I'm sure, was immense. There's no way to measure how much it meant to this family that they actually got to process what they needed to process there. And I can't imagine how hard it would be to be a family in this situation, trying to hold a funeral, and then these nutjobs show up and start yelling at you about the sins of America, which again have nothing to do with the particular soldier that you're trying to lay to rest. So just the simple act of showing up and creating distance for the family went a huge way, in this act.
Well, without even being asked. That's
right.
I think that's what really makes it kind. That's an amazing thing that some young people did. And I remember being in college, I probably wouldn't have done that. It's like, whoa, those angry fucking Westboro people, I'm piecing out. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
If you're listening and you're have any affiliation to the Westboro Baptist Church, you can just go ahead and unsubscribe. We're fine with that.
Yeah, fuck you. Let me leave you with that one.
Boom.
Yeah, boom. But
all right,
anyways.
So what was next? Culture?
Oh, what's that?
What was the next category?
Domestic. So, something that just a regular person kind of did is where my point of view. It doesn't have to necessarily be domestic, as in the United States. It can be anywhere.
Okay, that's what I took it as, but I can flip flop. I'm good.
Boom. All right. So domestic that's your turn.
Oh, I gotta go first.
Yeah. Duh.
Okay. Andre Johnson, the football player's Christmas shopping sprees.
Dude, yeah, that's a great fucking pick.
This one is really cool because like I'm always a sucker for things that help underprivileged kids.
Hell yeah.
And because it's almost always not the kid's fault that they're in the situation they're in. They're maybe like 0.5% of times where a kid is the cause of his full situation, his or her.
Yeah, that's even being
like, and you could say, a kid who is in and out of juvie or whatever. Like, okay, that's his fault. He's making bad decisions, but something pushed him to that point also.
Yeah, most definitely.
Usually, there's something else going on in that child's background that has gotten them to that point where they're committing crimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Andre Johnson spends thousands of dollars every year at Christmas time buying toys for kids under the care of Child Protective Services. And this was as of when he was a player. I'm not sure if he's still doing it now that he's retired. I'm sure he's doing something, but it's probably not as big,
Yeah, it's probably scaled back quite a bit.
But every year that he was in the NFL, he did this, and he did it like he made it fun for the kids. So he didn't just buy a bunch of toys and drop them off. He grabbed several kids and he basically held a supermarket sweep for them and gave the kids 80 seconds, which is his jersey number, to run through a big toy store and grab as much as they could.
See, that is... When I heard about that shit, it was like, you know what? You're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like you. And you whooped some ass on the football field.
Yeah, he was a really good football player.
Yeah,
I like this better than just writing a check or buying a bunch of toys for tots because it's more personal. Like, he looks these kids in the face. He takes them. He spends the day. It's not just, okay, you had your 80 seconds, we're done. Like, he spends the day with them. He really makes it about him, and he lets the kid pick their own toys, which is great. Like, I'm sure these underprivileged kids who constantly are getting toys for tots and things like that, they have to make do with whatever's donated. But these kids get to go in and they get to pick their own stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, that's a really, really kind thing to do, man.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because that probably cost him a fuck ton of money. I know he did a lot of kids. Like,
I want to say the year that I first noticed it, it was like $20,000 or something.
That shit adds up, man.
Oh, that's a lot of money on toys.
This was back in, 2013 or 14?
Yeah, it was around there.
Well, still, they were making $9-10 million a year. That's a lot of money, but, shit, to spend that all... I really, I gotta say, I admire the fact that he didn't just write a check or didn't just, send someone to do it. He was all fucking in.
Right.
All in.
Because the best part of doing something like this is seeing the look on the recipient's face. It's one thing, like I said, to write a check and just be done with it, but to see that child's face light up, like when they're standing next to this cart full of toys that they get to take home, is a really cool thing.
Well, yeah, and he wasn't treating them like, oh, you poor senseless little thing, you poor blah, blah, blah. It's...
Anyone can just write a check and be like, okay, I'm done with my charity for the year, which, I mean, that's great. If that's what you do, like, anything where you're giving to charity is a good thing.
Agreed,
but
yeah.
It takes an extra special person to look these kids in the eye, see what they're dealing with on a daily basis, and then make their dreams come true in a way that is impactful to them.
Don't just treat them like human beings instead of this poor damaged property. It's like, listen, let's not talk about it. Let's just have some fun.
Exactly. So what do you got?
I got James Harrison of Australia. I'm not even gonna fucking try.
No, don't do it.
Please don't. I'm just so James Harrison, at a young age, he was 13 when he underwent open heart surgery, I believe, and he required a ton of blood to survive. So he woke up from his surgery, and knowing that he needed that blood to survive, he made a vow that he would donate as much as he could once he turned 18. So this guy donated every 3 weeks for 57 years.
Shit.
Yeah, 57 years. And what makes it even more special is he has an unusual plasma composition that has been used to make a treatment for rhesus disease, which I'm not entirely sure what that
I've
is.
heard of it, but yeah, it's a rare disease, I think. Yeah, I've heard of that, but
it can kill and or, alter a lot of people's lives. So this guy is responsible for antibodies that have treated and saved 2.4 million babies. Like, that's
wow.
fucking insane. 2.4 million babies. And I don't know, have you ever donated blood?
Yes.
Well,
They were giving out free Chick-fil-A one time, so I hit that up.
That's awesome. Yeah, they usually try to get us with
Again, I am not a
coupons or
naturally
something.
kind person.
Well,
You give me a free chicken sandwich, though, I'm there.
I'm fucking there. I do it for the apple juice. Not really. My wife has donated a lot of blood. I think it's an admirable thing because it fucking sucks, man. Like, that, I smoke tobacco, so I can't smoke for like an hour after or hour before or some shit like that. So that's a minor inconvenience right there. And at the same time, I guess I have thick blood. I don't know. I don't have a super great flow, so I have to drink a gobsmack load of fucking water. So I'm basically sitting there trying not to piss my pants while I'm getting stabbed.
Right.
And they're sucking my lifeblood out of me. And at the same time, all I get some fucking apple juice at the end. Not that great. But this guy, so moral of the story is it sucks. And I think it's a very kind thing for someone to do. Not just, once, twice, 3 times, but every 3 weeks for 57 years. That is fucking
That's
insane.
a lot of blood, man.
That's a lot of blood. And 2.4 million children. No one asked him to do that. No one was like, hey, we noticed this. We think you should donate it just for the kids. Like, it was just, I'm doing something kind. I know people need this. It doesn't really affect him. It doesn't bother him. It's, something he's willing to do. And it can help people in general. But the fact that it helped 2.4 million babies, that's insane. And babies, too. Babies need adults like him to help care for them more than anybody else. Like, I think that's almost the epitome of community raising a child, as silly as that sounds.
Well, no, yeah. You have to take care of babies if you want them to not be to grow out of being babies. So,
obviously.
Yeah,
obviously.
It is important.
Well, and that's a very specific thing that this guy is good for, and what a weird coincidence that this guy happened to find himself in that position. It's just odd.
Yeah. Okay. On to the last one, which was cultural.
Cultural it is? Hit me.
No, you go first this time. I went first or last.
All right, cultural it is. So this one is, I don't have an exact year. I know it was during his second inaugural session, basically, and that's when Lincoln met Frederick Douglass for the first time during the Civil War. The bit of kindness I specifically pulled from it is when Frederick Douglass met Lincoln for the first time, as he went up to Lincoln's office. It's very busy, and obviously the Civil fucking War is going on, so shit's kind of hitting the fan, and Lincoln's sitting there in an armchair and stands when Frederick Douglass enters the room. He tries to introduce himself, and Lincoln's just like, I know who you are, and he just goes to shake his hand. It's just a little acknowledgement of Frederick Douglass's humanity, and I think that was a bit of kindness that Lincoln showed him that had fucking crazy ramifications if you follow the little weird rabbit hole. Frederick Douglass was a
Frederick
leader
Douglass
in recruitment.
rabbit hole it definitely gets weird.
Yeah, well, he was a leader in recruitment for the Union Army once they allowed black soldiers to register. So that's something that turned the tide of the war, in a lot of people's opinion, and I share that opinion. And that was all because of a simple acknowledgement of someone, a second nature thing for a man like Lincoln in his particular place at his particular time, but an extraordinary act of kindness in my mind.
I'll give it to you. I agree. Lincoln, good dude.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. And coming from, I'm an Illinois boy. Lincoln is a big deal around here. I've learned so much about that guy in the past 5 years than I did my entire life growing up. Got fed the basic bullshit, but there's a lot more. He's a very complicated cat.
He's on the penny. There's a fun fact for you.
Yeah. He's on the most worthless coin we have in the world.
This next person I'm going to talk about has a shot at being on Money someday, too. And that is Harriet Tubman. You see that segue? That's really good.
I fucking heard about that.
We'll get to that at the bottom of my spiel because I've got an issue. So she escaped slavery in 1849 and then took 19 confirmed missions to rescue at least 70 slaves through the Underground Railroad. She would hide coded messages in songs to help other slaves understand how and when to get away. She would deliver detailed instructions to people other than the 70 that she was directly responsible for helping escape. So it's estimated that her influence helped rescue at least 300 people from slavery, which is pretty crazy.
That's fucking dope.
And it's crazy not only because she could have been caught at any point and put back into slavery. Even like if she were found in the South, it could have happened. But also, if she made any enemies in the North, they could have sent her back using the Fugitive Slave Act at the time, where basically anyone catches someone they think is a slave, they can take them to a slave owner, and the slave owner will be like, yeah, that's my slave.
Yeah, totally. For free, gimme.
So there's obviously nothing other than kindness in her heart to put her ass on the line over and over again and keep going back for more.
Well, she got knocked around quite a bit. That's a lot of missions to go on, and It's not like it all went perfect all the fucking time either.
No, and for most people, like, just escaping is as good as you're gonna get. That's enough. A couple others, they may take 1 or 2 trips back, try and get some family, friends, close friends out, but she helped so many people escape. Most of them complete strangers, and just kept going back for more.
Exactly, and I wonder what the ramifications of just her, leading by example in that regard would cause more people obviously. I'm sure.
And
a lot
later,
more people.
This is a fun fact I learned, is she became the first woman to lead an armed raid in the Civil War.
No shit.
Yeah, there you go.
Was she successful?
Didn't say.
Get back to me.
Yeah.
Get back to me, bro.
You'll have to Google that on your own.
I'll Google it.
So back to the beginning, the article that I was reading states that she will be commemorated on U.S. currency, supposedly supposed to be the $20 bill. That was as of 2016, but it just keeps getting held up in the voting process. And if you're one of the representatives out there voting against putting Harriet Tubman on currency, just fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
You suck.
It's time for a change, guy.
I don't have anything else to say. Like, Andrew Jackson, what did he even do?
He did quite a bit, but he was a crotchety old fuck.
Yeah. I mean, can we put him on the penny?
People.
Abe Lincoln's got 2 coins. Let's put Andrew Jackson on the penny, get Harriet Tubman in there.
I'm down. Let's start a petition, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, you can do that.
Go for it, Nick.
I will support you 100% of the way.
I'll sign your petition. I mean, it's already a bill being legislated. I don't think we have to start a petition to get her on the. We just need people that, like, representatives to actually vote for putting it through. And there's some.
And they will with a petition, Calvin.
No, there's like some dumb politicking behind it. You know how things go. That it's not like the people don't like Harriet Tubman. It's this other part of the bill would weaken the $20 bill. Some dumb shit like that they don't want to go through with it. Or they can't change the mints out or whatever. Some stupid shit that's actually holding it up or why people won't vote for it.
Yeah, it's crotchety old white man bullshit.
Yes.
There, I said it.
Hey, go out and vote for all of your crotchety old white men candidates.
Nah, but vote. I mean, you gotta vote.
Yeah. We might have an episode about that come November.
I would love it. Let's do it.
That'll be our one dive into politics.
Yeah, we gotta live tweet the election too.
I'm not gonna do that.
I'll
do it like I do for the Oscars, where I just live tweet whatever I'm doing, which is not paying attention to the Oscars.
Taking a shit. I can hear the Oscars in the other room.
I did it really good in 2019, and then I started to do it this year and completely forgot about it about 10 minutes after I started.
Oh, shit.
And just did a bunch of shit. I think we even recorded an episode that night, maybe? No, I guess it's a Sunday, so we probably did. But yeah, I just like completely checked out, and then it was like 10:30, and I was like, oh shit, I was supposed to be live tweeting this whole time. I didn't do it.
I'll get started now. Fuck it.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on to our own lives. I didn't. You put the outline for this together. The next point was acts of extreme kindness that we've experienced. So I didn't know if you meant that, like that we've done unto others, others have done unto us, both, neither. So I came up with a little bit of all.
Hit me. I mean, it was very open to interpretation.
Okay. So I've got 4 different things.
4?
Yeah.
Calvin, 4?
How many do you
Hit
have?
me, bro. I have 2. But mine are long, so hit me.
Okay. Yeah, mine vary. Okay, so the first, like, I was having a hard time thinking at first, and the biggest stretch I could make of like somebody being extremely kind to me personally is my friend that put me up for the current job I have had no real reason to stick his neck out for me. I was going to fill his role because he had gotten a promotion to our corporate company. He's since moved on several times. But I had no quote unquote real experience and no education in this industry. But I had worked with him on a few like fun side projects before, and he helped me learn a few extra things before the interview process that would be helpful. And like I said, he just kind of stuck his neck out for me, and that could have completely backfired on him if I sucked. And it hasn't. So like, I mean, because I was in a hourly kind of dead end job that was very taxing, and he had no reason to bring me into this completely new industry filling in for him where he was still going to be working as well, and like if I sucked he would have had to take the brunt of that. And so like that was a really cool, nice thing that he did.
Yeah, I mean, it changed your life. It set you on a trajectory that
it did.
That is pretty fucking tight. That's very kind.
Okay, I'll go with my next one, and then you do one, and then I'll do my next 2, and then you do the last one.
All right.
So my next one was me and my other friend, actually this guy's brother, were at dinner with this. We used to work at this youth shelter for like runaway, homeless, and troubled kids. That was the very taxing job I had before my current job.
Yeah, I fucking imagined.
And there was this one kid who he turned 18, and like we're not supposed to have contact with the kids once they're out of the shelter. But once he turned 18, those rules are kind of turned off. It's still frowned upon, but like he was in and out a lot due to his situation. And we took him to dinner for his birthday, and we're just there talking, going through things, not just yucking it up, kind of not really getting into anything big. And this really drunk guy sitting next to us starts gabbing at us, right? Just going off on his life story, and we're just kind of like, all right, dude, just fucking leave us alone. But he was being nice. He wasn't being like belligerently drunk. He was just drunk and talkative.
Yeah, still though, it's like, leave me alone, dude.
And he's kind of like, what's your story? And like we let the kid tell his story because we didn't want to put his business out there. And like he kind of tells him a little bit, and we tell him how we know each other and what we're doing there and all that kind of stuff. And turns out he is an ex-NFL quarterback, but like a backup.
Shit.
He wasn't anyone that anyone would know. He was like a backup for the Giants in the mid '80s, not anyone great. And so he's just talking to us, and then out of nowhere he pays for our meal and gives this kid $100 just for no reason other than he talked to us and he wanted to be nice, which was really great. And he was drunk.
Man, I feel like a dickhead now. Woo, buddy. But I mean, that is a really fucking extraordinary thing to do.
Yeah,
that dude does not have gobs of money.
No. I mean, he's probably got enough to spare. It was probably $200 by the end, but our dinner and the extra 100, like that's in the grand scheme of things, that's not really that much, but he has no reason to do that.
Absolutely none. Yeah. It's a weird coincidence too.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't go there looking out for anyone to pay for. Like we were just taking him to a nice dinner, and it happened that we sat next to this drunk guy who decided to be nice. So thank you, drunk ex-NFL quarterback.
That showed a young man that there are some decent fucking people out there.
Well, and this kid, he's such a good kid after all the shit that he's had in his life. So like that's kind of why we always looked out for him. I haven't talked to him in a while, but
that's usually how it goes, man.
But that's probably a good thing. That means he doesn't need help anymore, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm sure you were, you helped guide the young man, which is cool.
Sure. All right, so give us one of yours.
All right, so this one This one's going deep into my coffers, but this is my story about Miss Cheney, who was my principal in elementary school. But I gotta go way back to when my dad was a 9-year-old kid. My dad was an orphan, so he had a really, really tough time, and he moved a lot, so he really didn't know anyone or he didn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And he went to elementary school in the town I live in now, and he met this woman named Miss Cheney, who kind of took him under her wing and just showed him kindness after years of just, my dad had some fucked up shit happen to him. So anyways, how it applies to me is when I was young, my mother took off on me, and that was a bit, I had a lot of problems with women in authority, I guess is a good way to say it. And I ended up going to, by weird coincidence, ending up at the same school my dad went to when he was a kid. And who was the principal but Miss Cheney? And she remembered my dad, and I was a fucking angry ass kid, and I was not easy to like and or love, I'm sure. But this woman fucking, without hesitation, just wrapped me up in her arms, figuratively and physically. And dude, this lady was a champion of the people, especially for a young kid who was fucking aimless and just pissed off at the world. I mean, I was fucking borderline about to get kicked out of school, not because I was violent or anything, but I was extremely disruptive and argumentative. But this lady, she was a fucking principal of a a school that's not in the greatest area, so she's already got a lot of shit on her plate. School wasn't even fucking air conditioned. It gets hot here, man.
Yeah.
And she took, out of the kindness of her heart, she didn't help just one generation, but 2 generations of kind of aimless young people. And, I mean, she had a tremendous impact on me throughout my entire life just because she showed me a little kindness.
And that's great. That's great that she has helped you along your way to become the co-host of a very middling podcast.
We're a podcast about something, and today it's about kindness. So
and she was
that's pretty great.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a special woman. God rest her soul. I don't say that for many people because I'm not a big God guy, but she's a pretty amazing person. She was just the kindest lady.
Shout out.
Yeah, Miss Cheney.
Shout out to heaven, Miss Cheney.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
All right, so
say that all the fucking time.
My next one is a guy by the name of Shea Serrano in the FOH Army.
Dude,
FOH stands for fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Curious about this cat because I've seen you interacting and talking about him quite a bit on Twitter before.
Yeah, I talk about him a lot. I've talked about him on the show. He's written 3 New York Times bestsellers at this point. The first one was the Rap Yearbook. Check it out if you haven't. The second one was Basketball and Other Things, and the third one was just released at October of last year. It's called Movies and Other Things. I've read the first 2. I've just started Movies and Other Things. All great. He writes like you're having a conversation with one of your friends, which is really a fun way to read things.
Yeah.
And he's not like a real writer. Like he just started writing to write things. Mm. And it's just it's really fun to read the things he writes. So if you like basketball, rap music, and movies, check out all 3 of those books and buy them. So he has done, over my time of following, which is now about 10 years I've been following him, but it's ramped up in the last 5. He has done these different kind of fundraisers just out of nowhere for almost no reason. Like one time he couldn't find his car in an airport parking lot, and one of those ladies on the carts picked him up, drove him around for somewhere around an hour, and eventually found his car. And like the next day, and like while they were driving around, he got kind of her life story and what's going on with her, blah blah blah. And so the next day he goes on Twitter and he's like, she told me her life story, let's help her out, let's let her provide a good Christmas for her kids, whatever it was. And within like 3 or 4 days raised several $1,000s for this woman
Nice.
that he doesn't know really. And he does things like that all of the time. He finds these random people who need help and gets his FOH army, which are all of his followers. I like to consider myself part of that, to donate whatever they can so it multiplies and multiplies. And it does a great job every time. He also, like even before his books come out, the pre-orders put him into consideration for like New York Times like upcoming bestsellers or whatever that is, #1 on Amazon pre-orders, all that shit. Because people are so willing to just go out and do things for him.
Support this guy. Yeah.
It's especially well, he also does these book parties, I think is what they call them. And basically he just puts it out there. If people need the book, get in his mentions right now, like reply to that tweet, and somebody who can get another person a book will buy that person a book, basically. Yeah, so like you get a lot of people who are like college students, can't afford a $20 book, but they really want to read it. And then some other dude comes in and is just like, hey, I got you. Send me your address. And boom, they get him a book. I've tried to buy people books. Nobody ever responds to me when I'm like, hey, I got someone a book if they want it. Because I have 2 copies of Movies and Other Things. I have 2 copies of Basketball and Other Things. And I have Kindle copies of both of them. I think I only
Send
have
one my way,
one
bro.
copy
I'll
of the
fucking
wrap.
read that shit.
Huh?
Also, I'll read that. I'll check it out.
No, you have to buy your own. Because I know you can, Nick.
Oh, you rat fucking bastard. I'll have to check him out, man. I might get him on. I wonder if they have any of his books on Audible.
Movies and Other Things is on Audible. He also did like an Audible special with his wife that he called a wedding thing, where they talk about the circumstances around their wedding, which is a really interesting story. So check that out. It's free on Audible. I can't. It's only like 15 minutes long, so I can't talk anymore about it. Otherwise, it'll give away. But it was not just like we went to this beautiful church and had a beautiful wedding. It's a really interesting and good story.
Shit, I'll check that out.
And I'm pretty sure he does the audiobook of Movies and Other Things, but you really want to get the real books because they have great illustrations by this guy, Arturo Torres. And they're just fantastic and hilarious. So
I'm game for that.
So the other thing that's going on right now with coronavirus is he has raised over $61,000 for random people on Twitter, plus whatever his followers have thrown in.
That's balling.
To just help people pay bills right now when people are losing their jobs and getting laid off for no reason and having struggles that big companies aren't necessarily concerned about right now.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah. And he's, like I said, he just gives away. He's like, I've got $1,500 today. Get in my mentions if you need a bill paid. And then he usually spreads it out. Yeah. So it's really cool. And then
I'm on that train.
Yeah, get on it. If you're not, follow Shea Serrano, watch this stuff. I did one today. It felt really great. But I'm not trying to say like I did an extraordinary act of kindness. What he's doing is extraordinary. I just gave somebody some money. That's the other thing about it is like he'll give whatever he gives, and then other people pile on. Like whoever didn't get it from him, usually there's somebody else who's willing to help another person out.
Yeah, contribute because he led by example. That's pretty
awesome. And so I got one more thing. This is a thing that happened from me to another person a couple months back, and like I'm not trying to pat myself on the back with this one here because I was mostly an asshole in this situation. But it ended up actually helping someone. So to him, it was probably a great kindness. But to me, I was like, oh, man, I was kind of a dick to that
guy. Yep.
So I go to Walmart with my 3-year-old, and we had just pulled up, and I'm walking around the car to get her out. And this dude in a car in the next aisle over, so like my hood of my car is lined up with the hood of his car, right, in the Walmart parking lot. He is saying something to me. And as we talked about before, when anyone approaches me in the parking lot, it's just a straight no thank you, and I keep it moving. But I couldn't move on because I hadn't got my daughter out of the car. I needed to get her out. I couldn't just walk away. And so he's right there, but still in his car. So he's very unthreatening. He's in his car, not like trying to get up, get in my face or anything. And he just kept talking. And I was like just kind of ignoring him. I got my daughter out, and then I look at him and I see that he's still talking and like getting kind of concerned almost. And also kind of mumbling. So I got her out and I listened a little bit better to what he was saying. And he was trying to tell me that he was lightheaded and having trouble breathing. and was asking me to call 911.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So I did, and I stood there and like I went through it with him. I stood there and talked to him while we waited for the ambulance. Kind of close, but kept a safe distance because I did have my daughter. Like if she wasn't there, I probably would have gotten a little closer and talked to him a little more. But like I don't like putting my kids into those situations.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like,
Nope.
this guy could all of a sudden snap and take my daughter. Like there's, So I sat, waited with him for the ambulance. The ambulance showed up. I just talked to him a while. He is apparently a delivery person for a company delivering to Walmart, and he just finished his shift. When he started to feel like that, he said he started to try and go, but realized he was in no condition to drive. He was, 50s, 60s. It was really hot out, so I'm guessing he's probably dehydrated. Ambulance gets there. I answered a few questions for them, and then just went about my business. I tell this story because, like I said, I think I'm a nice person and I would do the right thing in most scenarios, but at the same time, I almost didn't help this guy who maybe could have died if I didn't, because this is a sea of a Walmart parking lot. There's no other spaces open around this. Like, I just happened to get this spot across from this guy. What if nobody else stopped and talked to him,
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I just stray away from people in parking lots as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, get away from me.
Again, that's mostly good practice, but this guy was in no way threatening and didn't even approach me. He couldn't move out of his car. And so something like this, it just really highlights the difference between someone like me, who's not just like an outright kind person, and someone who's truly kind that wouldn't have even blinked twice when this guy asked for help and would just be like, yeah, what do you need? Standing there, getting him water, all this shit, when like I did the bare minimum to help this guy.
Yeah, you still did something though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's a big difference.
Oh yeah. All right, so what's your last thing?
My last one is one that applies to me too. So this is a shorter one. When I was younger, as I mentioned before, we were pretty fucking broke growing up, but my dad still, busted his ass to get me into sports. So I never really had a sport I liked. And one day my dad was walking me into MC Sports, which is this local fucking place that's long closed, to get some shin guards for soccer.
Ugh.
I fucking hate soccer.
Soccer's
dude.
the worst.
I hated soccer.
I don't mind it now, but like I hated playing it in like elementary school.
Yeah, and I was overweight and just all the running and shit was just not my bag, baby. Not my bag. I was
Not a
video
fan of
gamer
running.
at the time.
Well, I played tennis in high school, and I specifically played doubles because the running amount in singles was too much for me to handle.
Yeah, fuck all that. Running sucks. But anyway, so we're walking into MC Sports, and there's this old dude sitting at a table outside with a little pitiful sign for the local JFL football team. And, he's like, hey, do you want to join the Southwest Bears? And my dad's like, oh, sorry, I think my son's a little pussy. Not really, but, he's just like, yeah, I don't know if my kid would really be into that. And he didn't say it. I remember this fucking distinctly. He didn't say it, but he implied heavily that, we just flat out could not afford it.
Right.
Because, it's expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of equipment that goes, especially in Pop Warner.
Fuck.
Like, in high school, they provide you with most of the stuff. In Pop Warner, there's none of that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to
luckily,
provide all of your stuff except for, like, the practice jersey.
Pretty much. Like, it's in the mouthpiece. But
Mhm.
he was just like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Wait, you guys didn't use used mouthpieces?
Oh, I mean,
Shut
up.
We
Shut
did.
up. You might shut them down. But he was just like, yeah, don't worry about it. If you, and he looked me dead in the face and he says, son, would you like to play football? I was like, yeah, okay. So I ended up, playing football, and that really changed. That shit, dude, changed my life in so many ways. And he was my dad was busy, so I was alone a lot after school, and instead I had football to go to, and everyone called him Coach Dad. So he was, he earned that very much so. Like, he always helped kids with their homework. He spent every dollar he could to do nice things for us, and in middle school, which is a time where most all of us were rapidly changing and going through puberty and crazy shit like that, which is a fucking rough time.
Yeah, middle school.
He's just, him and his wife were just super, super kind people. And even at the end of his life, he didn't want to leave his wife broke. Because, they definitely didn't have a lot of money. He obviously spent most of it helping people, but cancer kind of ate him up, and instead of continuing to fight it, he was just like, I'm good. I'm going to go out. I lived a good life. but I'd rather save this couple, $1 million that I have left and provide for my wife and my family for a lot longer. His wife's still alive. And I mean, he died like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Not that long. I mean, fuck.
I hear stories about coaches like that. Never had one. That was just like out of their way. Like, I'm here for the kids,
Oh, yeah. He was absolutely, I mean, any kid that had a problem, he was there. Any kid that needed a ride home, he'd take him home. You need picked up, I got you. Because, I mean, I used to have to ride my bike to practice after work, and it was like 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah. And I mean, we had coaches that were nice, that would do things like that if it were necessary, but they weren't, like, going above and beyond in any way.
Yeah, he always told me he lived near me, but he's like, oh, I mean, it's 8:30 at night. This dude's worked all day and then started teaching shithead teenage kids how to play football. And he's like, oh, yeah,
teenagers
you're on my
worst.
way. Yeah, I mean, I fucking sucked, man. I was a dick. I was a little asswipe. And he would take, he'd drop me off along with like 2 or 3 other kids. And not till his funeral, I found out, because we did a little, my father now had just started at the time a lawn care company, which is, led to a very successful life, etc. But we were doing a little landscaping for his wife at their house. And I found out, obviously where his house was, and it was miles
close to yours
out of the way. It was fucking 20 miles out of the way. This dude lived way out of town, and it was just, he probably spent 18 hours a day helping people, and that's a fucking kind human being.
Yes, it is. Shout out to heaven again.
Coach Dad.
My
dude.
All right, so let's wrap up here. What do we think about the culture of kindness today in our world?
It's fucking shameful, dog. Shameful. People are dicks. People are fucking dicks. I mean, look at the virus and the situations going on with hoarding.
At the same time, they're not. Like, I think this is a really good time to have this conversation. Like, this hit at a good time because there's something to actually hold it against right now with coronavirus going around.
There's a healthy mix.
So, despite what one very loud person would have you think, it's a very serious disease. And
Absolutely.
For the most part, people are trying to take it seriously. Everyone I've talked to is doing their best to follow the guidelines. Now, that comes at the expense of other things, and sometimes you can't always follow them as strictly. Like, I've gone to stores probably 3 times a week still because we need things or whatever. But I think at first there was a movement to not really worry about it, especially for younger people. But lately, people have really stepped up to the plate in the past few weeks and are trying to do their best to stay at home, stay away from other people. And it's just not an easy thing to do. And
no, it's not.
Even if you're not doing anything selfishly with that time, it's still very easy to come into contact with other people. And I think as a whole, we are doing a good job of trying to stay away from people. People want to be kind, especially, like we said, if it doesn't cost them anything. And we're seeing how kind of the simplest acts of kindness right now, keeping your distance, covering your mouth, washing your hands, all that stuff, can go the furthest into stopping spreading this. But on the other hand, you have huge dickheads who go out there and say, no, it's all a hoax, nothing's going on, don't worry about it, go back to work by Easter.
Or, they cough on people's shit at the store and
lick bottles of shampoo, all of that.
You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's simple, and I think we've all kind of came to a conclusion. For the most part, like, the zeitgeist of America has kind of come to the conclusion. It's like, okay, this is scary. Like, we need to take this seriously, and luckily there's a dramatic amount of reasonable people out there. But I mean, there's a lot of not at my job, it's a lot of older, wealthy white men who are just like, this is a fucking hoax. They're buying in this shit hook, line, and sinker, dude.
Well, we have a really big red hatter at my work. And he is surprisingly taking it seriously. He said he's been staying inside now. He lives with his mother-in-law, who is very old, like probably 90s, I would say.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that's why he is taking it more seriously, because he has somebody in one of those high-risk groups very close to him. But I was kind of surprised with when I spoke to him last week. He's like, I don't even think I've left my house in the last 2 weeks, which I'm not. I'm leaving my house constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. I still have to go to work every day.
I'm staying away from people, but I'm constantly not in my house. As much as I can be because I get stir crazy just like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but to go with what you're saying, people are also generally selfish. And I think when all this blows over, we're going to go back to being selfish and it's going to hit hard.
Yeah, it's going to be bad, dude.
We saw it right out of the gate with people hoarding shit that there was never any need to hoard: toilet paper, meat, sanitizer, soap. Like, you don't have to hoard those things. People are still making them. They're still going in the stores. Just buy what you would normally buy and there's enough for everyone.
Right?
They're not going to close the stores.
That simple.
They're not going to stop production of these things. Just wait. And I don't know how stores still don't have this stuff in.
I can tell you 100% because I work for a giant distributor of food and like, you know, toilet paper, sanitizer, gloves, stuff like that, you know, cleaning supplies, and our produce department is fucking dying, which is weird, but everybody's buying us out of like gloves and sanitizer.
Right,
exactly.
Because everybody thinks that this is a thing where you have to have like frozen food that you can eat whenever, and nobody's buying produce because it's too perishable. But like, just buy it and fucking eat it like you would any other time.
Well, exactly. And the point of it was our supply lines are not going to. I mean, tomorrow I could get 500 trucks full of food. So it's something that
delivery services are essential business. They're not going to be shut down. Farms have no reason to shut down. Like that. They're probably
they want to sell their shit, man.
They're one of the safest businesses. They don't fucking talk to anybody. They don't see anybody. They're out in a fucking farm all day.
Yeah, in a tractor.
That's what I said about my industry. Is I'm in the construction industry, and we do ready-mix concrete. So, like, I just keep telling people like that's one of the safest businesses because nobody gets close to each other. Nobody touches each other. Like, you get out of your truck, you pour the concrete, you get in your truck, you leave. You don't shake hands, you don't touch, there's nothing, there's no need to touch anyone at the plants if you don't have to. And so, like, everybody's like, oh, are you worried about your job shutting down? I'm like, honestly, not. And apparently in Florida, construction is considered essential, so we wouldn't be anyways. But I just never saw the need for it in this industry. And that's the same thing with food production and the toilet paper production. Saying like production doesn't necessarily need to shut down in this scenario, but people are treating it like it will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they don't want to take the time to understand it.
Well, it's the end of days.
Yeah.
It's so depressing to see. It's frightening and all.
Well, and then the worst part of it is the people hoarding it to price gouge somebody else.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah. I would love to whoop some ass.
It's just a very narrow thought process and worldview that gets you to the point where I'm going to buy 60 cases of toilet paper because either I need it for the next 6 months, fuck everybody else, or
6 months, bro. That's I'm like gonna sell 4 years.
Well, yeah. I'm going to sell this for a fucking $100 a roll because people are going to need it. Like, fuck you if you're doing that.
Well, and in their minds, it's, the America, the almighty dollar, capitalism. And where did they parrot that information from? I think we both know, sir.
And I just feel like I'm more afraid of, like, in 6 months when this is all blown over, there's a cure or a treatment process, whatever, something where life can somewhat get back to normal, I just feel like people are just going to almost immediately forget about everything we went through. Life's going to go back to normal. We're going to be, people are just going to be looking out for themselves. We're going to see Black Friday people pushing and shoving and knocking each over to get to the toy or the TV or whatever. And it's just like, did we forget what just happened and how much we need each other's help?
Look at 9/11, dude. Yeah, I mean, look at 9/11. Yep. People fucking just forgot, basically.
Never
it's
forget,
there,
Nick.
and they feel patriotic when it's around, but
I mean,
a lot of people
every
are
9/11, don't you see the people changing their profile pictures on Facebook to never forget with a picture of Ghost Twin Towers?
Yeah. It's driving me nuts. But anyways.
All right.
All
right, final point. Do you think everyone deserves kindness, or is there a threshold for that?
Yes and yes. I think everybody deserves basic kindness, but
right.
For me, it borderlines between, kindness, decency, and basic human respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you are a human being just as much as I am. I don't know anything. For example, if I didn't know anything about you, I don't know anything about this random person on the street.
Right.
But
basic human decency is fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be a fucking cocksucker to him and just not be aware of my surroundings and yada yada. But obviously, there's a limit. I mean, fuck Hitler, child rapists, fuck those guys. They do not deserve kindness. They can be thrown off a cliff for all I give a shit. But that's obviously very drastic examples.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of people.
Those types of people are barely people at that point.
Yeah, they're fucking monsters. Monsters don't deserve kindness. So we can say all people do deserve kindness. Boom.
There we go. And yeah, I agree to an extent. Everyone is deserving of kindness, kind of the same way you were saying, but it's kind of on a personal, day-to-day, person-to-person basis, both from the giver of the kindness and the receiver of the kindness. So, and I think like going into any first-time meeting or anything like that, or just walking by somebody on the street, I think everyone at least deserves the benefit of the doubt, right? Even a complete piece of shit deserves basic human decency in a banal, meaningless conversation. A nod and a, what's up as you're passing by is not too much. Like, that's better than just flipping somebody off for walking by. If I met Hannibal Lecter tomorrow, I'm not going to, like, fall over myself trying to be nice to him, but I'm also not going to spit on him and throw a rock at his head, Yeah,
you deserve to die for shit that I
had a real person in this example, but I had to switch it out for a fictional person, so I didn't talk myself into a corner I didn't want to be in.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
But so, yeah, very basic human kindness. It's really easy to achieve, and I think that should apply until someone abuses it. Like, going back to that Hannibal Lecter example, obviously he's abused it at this point in time, but at the same time, he's never hurt me, so he would just start at a very low baseline. But, like, if a family member of someone he killed and ate came across him tomorrow, it'd be completely reasonable for them to throw a rock at his head.
100%. 100%. I think it kind of all depends.
Right. I would never claim that he's a good person, but I think showing another human, whom you've never met, the very base human decency of saying hello and not throwing a rock at their head shouldn't be unreasonable either.
Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Holding the door for someone and just being, I think being aware of your surroundings.
If I'm holding the door
thing.
And I realize it's Hannibal Lecter walking up beside me or behind me, I'm gonna keep holding the door. I'm not just gonna shut it in his face and be like, haha, fuck you, dick.
Yeah. Mostly because I don't want to die.
Well, he'll definitely kill me and eat me if I do that.
Yeah, eat my fucking brain and keep me alive. Like, that sick puppy. I don't want to do that.
And like you're saying, I'm going to be generally nice to someone when I first meet them, but the threshold diminishes each time they abuse that niceness. I'll be nice to you, but if you're continuously an asshole to me, like, that niceness is just going to go down and down with each interaction until I cut you off completely or, just...
I'm going to be as cold as I possibly can.
Well, yeah, so that's where the problem comes in. If it's like a coworker or a family member who constantly abuses your kindness and you can't just simply tell them to fuck off and cut them out of your life, like, that's a hard thing to balance sometimes of like, well, I don't like this person. They've never been nice to me. I've tried being nice to them. And now I'm at the point where I'm just like, okay, fuck you, but I can't do that because you're my wife's brother,
Yeah. And then they're like, why are you mad at me, dude? What's wrong? What did I do?
Exactly.
Fucking people.
So, be kind to people.
Yeah, be kind, guys. Shit.
But take some time for yourself, too. It's okay to be selfish sometimes.
You absolutely, 100%.
Hold the door open for Hannibal Lecter, okay?
This is being smart in two ways. So
exactly. He's going to help you out in your life, I swear.
He has fantastic wine pairing suggestions.
That's true. He does. All right. You got anything else on being kind? Rewind. Be kind and rewind.
Great movie. Underrated.
That is a good movie.
It was enjoyable.
Jack Black, Mos Def.
Yeah. Fucking A. That's when Mos Def was trying, man.
It was a weird movie, though. Didn't they, like, live under power lines and Jack Black had some, like, superpower or some shit? Mos Def had, like, it wasn't like a superpower, but, like...
a weird...
Like a weird ESP type thing, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Strange movie, but good.
Strange.
Yeah. Go check out Be Kind Rewind.
And Shea Serrano.
And Shea Serrano. Definitely check out Shea Serrano.
I'm on it, bro. I'm doing it.
Follow him on Twitter. Become a part of the FOH Army. You get like a cool little patch, which I'm holding up to a camera that nobody can see.
See this?
And you don't actually get this. You had to like pre-order the book at a certain time and send him a screenshot to get the patch, but I'm sure he'll do it again sometime.
Nice.
Get some cool NBA bookmark. A lot of cool stuff that he just gives away because he's awesome. Shout out Shea Serrano.
Yeah, that was a kind thing for you to do, Calvin. Send all of our thousands of followers his way.
Exactly. Maybe he can send some back our way.
That'd be tight.
All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being nice to people. Thank you for staying inside in this trying time and staying away from people as much as possible. Follow us on Twitter at APA something, at alone_podcast. We got anything else? Give us a review on iTunes. We don't ever ask you to do that. Do it now. Fuckers.
Those are
be
super
nice.
helpful.
Fuckers, and
be nice.
Give us a review. I'm having trouble talking. All right, we got to stop this because I'm having trouble talking now.
Hey, no worries, bro.
Review us on iTunes. Thanks to those cats
Please.
for all of the music for Podcast About Something.
And you guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.